So for this project, what I'm going to be doing is I showed you the little sample right here, and I'm going to try to recreate this picture from Pinterest onto this. So I got blue painter's tape from AC Moore. I literally live at this store. And then I got 2 different shades of gold. So we're going to do this one, iridescent gold, and then it'll just show you the color. It's not super focused. There, maybe that's a little better. And then the next one that I'm going to do is iridescent gold, and they're both like whatever, the same, 2, 4, 5, 5. So they're really similar shades. They're just like, I don't know, a little bit different of a shade, and they're both iridescent, so I feel like if I layer some, maybe layer together. If I layer them together, it'll create more of a contrast. That's why I went with both of these. So I'm going to show you how I'm taping this, and then I'm gonna paint, and I'll show you how I do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what we're gonna be using today. So first I told you that I'm using what was ever in the frame that I'm using, this ugly old jam thing, and I just flipped it around and put my art paper on this side, and this is what I'm going to be drawing on. So I have this. I have blue Scotch tape that I got at like AC Moore for super cheap. And then I bought 2 different kinds of paint that I'll be using today, which are both gold fluid acrylic paint. These are a little more expensive just because they're special, but that's what I'm going to be using. So next up is to get this blue tape. I'm going to paint, or I'm going to put it where I want it, like I showed you in the sample picture right here, and I'm going to try to recreate that. And then I will be painting. So I'll show you everything, and let's get started. So for today's project, I'm going to be using the blue Scotch tape, the scissor, a pair of scissors, a paintbrush. This one's pretty big. I end up using a smaller one later, but for information, this is a 2-inch one. I just got it at Walmart for pretty cheap. You're going to need a cup of water to rinse your brush, and then obviously some paper towels to dab your brush off. So let's get started. Here is a picture of what I'm going off of. I showed you this a little bit before, but I'm just going to have that right beside me so I know exactly what I need. And then I have my 2 different kinds of paint. Alright, so I just unwrapped my tape, and I'm going to be now placing it where I want the white to be. For this part, what I'm going to do is just eyeball the picture and try to match it up as best I can for my painting. So once I measure out the right amount of tape that I need, I'm going to really make sure to press down to make sure that there's no air bubbles or that the sides aren't sticking up anywhere, because when I do paint, I'm going to paint right over the tape to ensure that the white line is like super crisp and clean. And then I'm just going to cut it and make sure it's down on both sides, making sure to smooth it really good, and then moving on to the next piece. So now I'm ready to paint. I'm going to put my paint out on a plastic plate and just kind of get my color started. I'm just going to put 2 on opposite sides and then mix a few colors together. I quickly find out that this brush is way too big, and then I have to leave for a few minutes, try to find a small one, which I found a small one down in the basement. Just because I had like more control over it. This one was way too bristly. Hold tight while I go try to find a new one. Alright, so I ended up finding a much smaller brush that worked way better. I just found a super small, probably 1/2 inch, maybe 1 inch black brush. It's literally any type of brush will work, and I start dipping into my gold, and I'm just going to start painting. So I just took the paintbrush, put some gold on it, and then started painting. I started with this small section just because I wanted to know how the paint was. It actually turned out way less iridescent than I thought. It was pretty covering. I really only needed 1 coat, but I decided to go in with 2 and just make it like super bright gold. I just would do the same strokes over and over again in the same direction, because once it dried, I do know with acrylic that the strokes do show through, and I wanted it to just look more cohesive and whatever. So that is what I did for this one. And then for the next couple, I would just change up the shade a little bit and continue for all of the triangles. I did end up running around my house trying to find a white color. I found a basic white acrylic that I could just mix with the 2 golds, because I found that the 2 golds were just going to keep recreating the same color, and that's boring. And then just mixed the golds with the white. Then I decided to add a bit of water to my plate and mix the deeper gold with that to create more of like iridescent, like true gold. So I just put the water on my plate, mixed a little bit of gold, and then painted the bottom. Alright guys, so I took it off the tripod just to give you a better close-up, and this is what it looks like. So yeah, Just some different color variations. I didn't really go for the get super light. I tried and it was just kind of hard with the gold, so I just did different variations of the gold. I'm now gonna let this dry and then I'm gonna pick apart the blue tape and hopefully the line's stuck. And then I'll put it into the frame and hang it on the wall. All right, it is now time to peel away the blue paint. I was a tad nervous that my lines would not stick, but as you can see, the lines came up beautifully. I just started with the top piece of tape and peeled whatever one was next, and I absolutely loved the outcome. I waited probably 30-45 minutes just to make sure everything was dry, because if it was not dry, if something was like stuck on the paint or stuck on the tape, then it would have blotted on my lines, and I wanted them crisp white, and they came out so beautifully. I was so happy with myself. All right, friends, this is the final product. That's how I'm gonna have it framed up on the wall, and if you go look at my gallery wall, I do have it framed. This is how I made it. Super easy, super simple. If you have any questions about anything that I did in the video or what I used, comment down below, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed night. Don't forget, I post videos every Thursday. Woo woo! Peace out, suckers.